ministry, 'cause you are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You and I, Jesus. You and I, Jesus. You and I, Jesus. How about this? You and I, Jesus. You and I, Jesus. I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. Oh, hey. Oh, hey, oh. You are all that matters. Oh, hey, oh, hey. You are all that matters. Oh, hey, oh. You are all that matters. Oh, hey, oh, hey. You are all that matters. Oh, hey, oh, hey. Oh, hey, oh. You are all that matters. Oh, hey, oh, hey. You are all that matters. I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You are all that matters.
Ebenezer door to door, yada wasio. Se uwo oman Italy mu na opese udi unoma efri hoko oman Ghana mu a. Ena edwumaku a mekamfo diama wane Ebenezer door to door. Ebenezer door to door ba be fa unoma baby bia wo ewo Italy. Edi akọ oman Ghana mu bia bi ti se Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, eni Sunyane. Se uwo Italy ho so na opese udi unoma free ho eba ohima krom mitra UK. Anase se u sa wo Italy na opese udi unoma free ho eko eye Europe baby bia wo ka. Ena trumika ne fani ina betan Ebenezer door to door. Se uwo Italy a fra ring lines 34327098483. Anase 327330824. Say oh you can swap for number 07848420412. Ebenezer door to door. Yet that was it.
Because you are not a man that changes your mind. Those that know you will trust in you, not in horses and chariots, by the arm of flesh. No man you. What is hard? What is hard for you? It can never exist, oh. You do not lie, you do not fail. What is hard for you to do? It doesn't exist, oh. It can never exist, oh. You do not lie, you do not fail. What is hard for you to do? It doesn't exist, oh. Never exist. You do not lie, you do not fail. What is hard for you to do? It doesn't exist, oh. It can never exist, oh. You do not lie, you do not fail. What is hard for you? It doesn't exist, oh. Never exist, oh. You do.
Beloved, I bring you greetings from the Inside Studios, and you are watching The Virtuous Woman. It is such an honor to always come your way to share the word of God with you, to share matters concerning our lives with you, so that you will all with one accord learn to study to show ourselves approved. This is the Inside Studios, where we say we come here to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. And today also, just as we always do, we have come to share some social issues that are very important to us with you. If today happens to be the very first time you are watching, we give you a warm welcome. This is the Inside Studios. Here we will learn. And so you have joined a group that will help you to acquire knowledge. And if you're already a family, we also say very thank you to you for always sticking and staying with us, always sharing our screens with your screens with us to learn. Today we get to talk about breast cancer awareness. Breast cancer awareness. Don't forget, I am your host, Susie Osikeni Georges. If you are watching us, let's know from the comment section wherever you are watching us from, and we will be glad to welcome you to the family. As I said, we are talking about the breast cancer awareness, and just as you may already know, October is a month recognized as the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, or also called the Pink Month. And this is recognized in a very, let's say, most of the countries in the world. And that is why we have taken it also upon ourselves to share our quota with the community and with the people who are of a family to the Inside Studios. This is also an annually program that is held, or annually education that goes around, so that people will be aware of the breast cancer, and also very importantly to have early detection and also access to high quality care. So that is why it has been recognized as the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. For this year, the theme that has been given says that no one should face breast cancer alone. And it serves as a reminder to providers to consider the many ways that they can partner with patients and families in their prevention, detection, and treatment of the breast cancer. And so if you are joining us, thank God you may not have breast cancer, but you don't know, maybe somebody you know or somebody around you may have it, so that you will also know what to do to help such a person. I will not take so much of your time. Please let me take a few minutes to recognize the very people or the very organizations that sponsor the Inside Studios. We have Ebenezer Door to Door. You might have seen right from the beginning. they always come to our aid. And just as you might have seen, if you need your goods to be transported to Ghana, from Italy to UK, and from UK to Italy, they are at your service. We also want to recognize Sika Spices, that is Sika Organic. Our lady, Mami Sika ADJEI is the CEO. She is also of a great help to the Inside Studios, and we say that if you are in need of any spices, you can get to Mami Sika ADJEI on Facebook. Yeah, and also we'll also want to talk to you about our mommy Betty Ajima on Facebook. She is the Delicious Kitchen. And so if you need anything for your parties, your christening, your birthday parties, anything that you need for your kitchen, she can help you. And very most importantly, if you are a bachelor and you cannot prepare some food, she will gladly help you to do that. So you can get to Mommy Betty Ajima on Facebook and she will help you. What are we talking about again? We say we are here to talk to you about the breast cancer awareness. As you can see, I'm wearing pink. It is the pink month, and so help us all to acquire knowledge. It will help we ourselves and everybody around us. To help me do this is a young lady I've met for some time, a very vibrant one, working in the kingdom, and she is also a nurse. I am talking about our lady Nanaya Welbeck. I will take her on the spot and ask her about this beautiful surname that she has. Nanaya, you are welcome to the Inside Studios and to the Virtuous Woman.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure for me to be on this platform, and I believe this is going to be a fruitful meeting because we need to conversate on these issues that in the African community we seem to neglect, or sometimes we reserve for the brave. And actually it's something we all need to talk about, we all need to acknowledge, we all need to know about, because prevention is not only for those who have the pathology, but it's for everybody. So thank you so much for calling me on this occasion so that we can together promote this issue and let everybody understand that it's not something scary. We need to know about it so that we can protect ourselves and know how to help those who are unfortunately with this disease.
Wow, we are also glad to have you. We are so much glad to have you. And as I said, this sweet surname, Welbeck, are you a fancy?
No, please.
Oh.
I'm half Ghana and half Ashanti.
Okay. Hey. I would have thought this Welbeck is because you are fancy. Wow. Anyway, Ghana also puts up sometimes it also puts up some English names. So you are welcome. I understand. Let me say, just as you said in your introduction, it seems like breast cancer is for the brave. But just as you said, we all have to do everything that we can. Maybe not for us, praise God, but for somebody we might know around who is of this or who has this pathology. I will, let me say this, it is not even, let me not call it a story, but I happen to go to an office actually where sometimes I go to work, and there is this elderly woman who works at the office with us. I got there one early morning, I greeted her, oh, how are you doing? She said, I'm fine, but she has this exam that she had to go and do. she already knows she has breast cancer. She's on treatment, so she will go for checkup and all that. And I just watched her and I said, and you are just seated like that. You are so brave. I didn't say it to her, but the reason why I was so much amazed was I had booked for an appointment already to go for a checkup, breast cancer. And I was already alarmed, even though there was nothing. But when I heard this woman already having it and undergoing treatment, I said to myself, you have not been even diagnosed of anything. Thank God you don't have anything. But you are so much afraid. Look at the woman who I would say doesn't even have God, but she's so confident. She's not down with the sickness, but she's going about her normal duties. Talk less of you who has Christ backing you. That is why it is okay for us all to acquire knowledge, so that you will know that it is not, yes, it is it is heartbreaking, but you will not give up and say, okay, I have it, so I'm gone. But you seek for the necessary treatment that you need. We pray to God that none of our family members or none around us will be affected by this. But in case we know of somebody who is, and also for us to know how to relate to them, And so, Lady Nanaya, take us through. What is breast cancer? Let's say it is breast cancer. So we might have to know what this cancer is and what is this breast cancer.
Okay, so let's begin to talk about what cancer is. Cancer is actually a group of cells in the body that grows continuously, unstoppably, uncontrollably. So every cell has a cycle. So the cell multiplies, it goes through a certain process, and then in its aging, I could say, it's supposed to be eliminated. But when it comes to cancer, the growth of these cells, which could be any tissue at all, so it can be breast, in this case, it can be the stomach tissue, it can be the lung tissue, it can be any cell in the body at all, can go through this process of, it's an abnormal process, which causes the cell to grow uncontrollably. And this is the reason why it becomes dangerous. Because one, it can be benign, so maybe it won't cause any damage, and it will be there, as in there are some cells that you can't eliminate, so they will continue their cycle. And I hope you can hear me because my microphone is...
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good, thank you. And so talking about cancerous cells, they are all those cells that enter into an abnormal cycle of continuous growth, uncontrollable growth. Talking about breast cancer is, let's say, the most commonly occurring cancer in women in the whole world, without any doubt. And available information tells us that the incidence or the mortality, so the death rate, is coming down due to prevention, due to promotion of these projects of breast cancer awareness. Because right now we know more about it, we know how to deal with it, we know how to prevent it. So we are to dive into this. The breast is human being, every human being has a breast. Although we say women have a breast, even men also have a breast. So we shall come to that side. The breast has, let's say, mainly three kinds of tissues: the duct, the lobular, and the connective tissue, which is, let me explain. the duct is the connection, or let's say the tubes in simple terms, the tubes in through which the milk goes to the lobula, and the lobula collects the milk so then the woman can breastfeed, okay? And the connective tissues are all other tissues, all the cells, so the fatty tissues and all other cells that are in the breast. Let's say the normal cells, the common cells, okay? So when it comes to breast cancer, it's any part of the breast that develops these cells, or which cells are growing uncontrollably, that unstoppable. You can't determine the growth of that particular side of the breast, so it forms a lump. Mainly, firstly, it's probably a tumor, which can be benign or destructive, and then it goes into, it's called cancer, that whenever it's beyond the control of a treatment, or is beyond the limits that we need to check each time. So we need to know about certain things that breast cancer is about. For example, in our daily life, there are certain things that we do that will cause us some consequences, and there are other things that will prevent us from certain consequences that we want to avoid. So this brings me to talking about certain risks that breast cancer has or is about. For example, the most common sex or gender affected by breast cancer is women, which means your gender is a risk factor. The fact that you are a woman, 99% of breast cancer patients are women, which means 1% of breast cancer patients are men. Other risk factors are your genetic mutations. Why do I say so? We have some genes in our DNA that are called cancer blockers, best known as BRCA1 and BRCA2. We won't go into details because this is more genetics, but then to let you know what brings these mutations, what brings these unstoppable growth of cells, is because you have a mutation or you have a change in these genes that are called BRCA1 and BRCA2. There are other genes related to breast cancer, but these two are the mainly common ones that we always talk about because they are as I said earlier, the cancer blockers. They help us to control any abnormal growth or any abnormal cell that comes into the human organism. Another risk factor is the family history. Family history. This, I could say, this mainly what people know about breast cancer because we've heard about probably famous people or famous musicians, actors who have gone through a certain treatment, a certain journey to avoid it because their mom, their sister, their auntie, their grandma has it. This is because breast cancer has a particular family history, goes according to family history, which has, for example, not only breast cancer, also ovarian cancer or other cancers such as colon or stomach or family. So it's not only breast cancer that is related to family history. Mostly people recognize certain pathologies or certain diseases, for example, diabetes, breast cancer, but then there are other ones. So we shouldn't be too alarmed about these things. We should be aware, not alarmed about the risk if in case it happens that we are from a family in which a person had or is having this kind of disease.
Wow. Somebody's already asking, so someone say doesn't know that men also have breast cancer, can have breast cancer. Yes, men can also have it's breast. So once you have a breast, they say they don't have a breast, but they have a chest. It is all breast, so they can have breast cancer also. So if you have never heard, at least something that you will take up from this session is that men can also be affected. And just as our lady Nanaya have said, it is mostly women. Mostly women. I got to that. Mostly also African women. So like we need to know, as we said from the beginning, early detection will help for us to take up timely intervention so that we can take up whatever cure that or whatever therapy or treatment that we need to take when it comes to it. It is said also that 1 out of 8 women can get cancer. So it is not something that is so far, but just as our lady said, not for us to get frightened about it, but us to acquire knowledge and know what it is actually all about. So she made us to understand that it can be, you can have cancer because of maybe the pattern in the family. It can be genetic. It can be also because of maybe our way of life today. They call us the microwave generation. We are into certain things that are making us risk of having cancer. Wow. Lady Naya, you can continue for us.
Thank you. As you correctly said, the racial, how do I explain it? Like your race also can be a risk factor because in Black women especially, and Hispanic, and also if I'm Black American, probably we will see later, due to certain routines and certain habits. So we can also find other risks in menstrual history. What do I mean by menstrual history? When a person has an early menstruation, so menstrual period before 13 is a risk. Not to frighten anybody, I repeat, but to let you know so you be able to, when we are talking about preventions and the do's and the don'ts, what we can control and what we can't control, you'll be more attentive if you fall under this category. So age is also a risk factor. Now let me repeat that of the menstrual history because many people don't know this, but when you have your menstrual period, you are exposed to estrogens, which are human hormones, and estrogens cause the body to, in simple form, to stress up. So the more you are exposed to this hormone, the more you are at risk of developing abnormal cells or abnormal tissues. So I remember my biology teacher used to say pregnancy is the savior of women, because when you are pregnant for that 9 months and even some months later, you will be abstained from your menstrual periods because you won't have your blood flow, your menstrual cycle, and that keeps you protected because you are not exposed to estrogens, you are not exposed to these hormones. So that's why I say, and it's and a matter of fact, that when you have your menstrual period earlier than expected, earlier than the average age a lady is supposed to begin her cycle, you are at risk. So you need to be more attentive. You need to pay attention. Another risk factor is the ladies who have dense breast tissues. So those who are who develop these formos, or let me say big in form, dense in tissues, rich of breast, are at risk of to get these abnormal tissues, abnormal cells, abnormal cell growth. For example, if you are aging and your tissues, your breast tissues are in, let me say, in a state of, oh God, forgive me, whatever, because Italian and English is trying to misbehave in my head. So I know you understand.
Yeah, please pardon us. We are half Italian and we are half Ghanaians too. Sometimes we have to be translating it from Italian to English. Don't worry, we understand.
Thank you so much. So, as I said, age is also a main risk factor, because probably in your 20s, you begin to develop, in your early puberty to your 20s, you begin to develop your breast tissues. After that age, maybe in the average age of 25, 30 to your 40s, you develop connective tissues, and then from 40 going, you have this stage of transformation that puts you at risk if, for example, you've been having your menstrual cycle from that period to your early 40s without any pregnancy. So, as a matter of fact, the those who are newly parent, which means who haven't had any pregnancy or haven't completed any pregnancy, is also at risk. So not only who has had the menstrual period earlier, but also those who haven't had any pregnancy or haven't been able to conceive, to take to term a pregnancy.
So maybe you might have conceived, but you had a miscarriage along the line. Okay.
Yes, please. Because in as I said earlier, in this period, if even if the pregnancy doesn't last 9 months, but yet it lasted, or you've been able to carry out some months to be able to to suspend. Let me use this word, so that to suspend your menstrual cycle has been suspended. You are being abstained from estrogens to you're being abstained from the let's say
you can chip in the Italian if it comes, okay?
Oh my! If I'm to speak Italian, it will be
you can chip
maybe all our viewers won't understand. So let me try as much as possible, because this is something that I'm really trying to create an example so that it will be clear and using simple words so that we all understand what I'm talking about. Because, for example, when you are pregnant, your whole system changes and follows your new state. You are kept in you stop producing your level of estrogens begin to reduce. You develop the lobula and the ducts begin to transform so that they'll be able to develop, or they'll be able to produce what the baby will need. And also breastfeeding with alongside with let's say, oh God, dense breast tissues help to be able to breastfeed the child. So it helps for you to be for you to change cells, for you to get along with the normal cycle of your breast cell, of your breast cells. So going on with maybe the risk, I'll just say there are certain things that we need to understand that we cannot control, which are the ones that I talked about now. Repeating what I said, your genes mutation, you can't help that. It gets to a period. There are studies proving that probably exposure to certain kind of rays, sunlight, and everything takes to these kind of mutations. Your age, your gender, family history, and your breast tissues, menstrual period, so the time you begin your menstrual period, and pregnancy. So not being nulliparate, not being pregnant during your fertile stage. These are risks that we can't control. And when it comes to prevention, these are things that we try to take note of, so that we can also concentrate on the ones that we can control. So which are the factors that we can control? For example, exercise, daily exercise. Exercise falls into primary prevention, because you do it regardless. It's something that you do whether you have it or you don't have it. You do it to prevent the disease. You do it to maintain your health. Exercising at least 30 minutes a day, each day, every day, is something that helps a lot, because it decreases the incidence of any cancer at all, not only breast cancer, but any other cancer, and a lot of cardiovascular diseases are also dependent on exercise. Another one that we can control is our diet, which will fall on our weight, and then our BMI, which is our body mass index. Explaining is the balance between your height and your weight. Maybe there's someone who is tall 1.6 meters, and the person is 80 kilos. That's unbalanced. Like, your BMI is calculated very simple. You can calculate it very in a very simple way, which is your height divided by your body mass, your body weight divided by your height elevated to the power of 2. So if you calculate these things, also on the internet you can get these kind of information that will help you control your weight. There are certain people who, when we talk about diet, will say, I don't eat this, I eat that, and yet I don't see myself to be losing weight.
Okay.
It's not something you can only see. Sometimes you don't only see it, but then with this calculation, with this knowledge, with this information, you can be able to understand how your journey is going, what you need to do with your through a balanced diet, with exercise, daily exercise, and then there are other risk factors that we need to avoid absolutely, which we can control. For example, the assumption of alcohol, consumption of alcohol, which is one of the risks for a lot of diseases, one of the risks and cause of a lot of diseases that put you at risk for a lot of diseases. More than 60% of drinkers are people who have developed sicknesses, as in for the liver, the stomach, anything at all. So alcohol is one thing we need to avoid. Even as Christians, we don't need to consume alcohol. So it's also a way of prevention, so that we won't inquire or we won't fall into these kind of problems. Another thing, and then maybe we will go to the kind of breast cancers that we have, and also how to approach it, how to deal with it, what we need to do. We are talking about first prevention, primary prevention. So everything that we need to do even before we go to we get to the knowledge of having the pathology or not, anything that you can do before is prevention, because you don't have to get there before you prevent. You need to prevent so that you won't get it, or it will tarry before it arrives, or it won't catch you unaware. It won't get you unaware.
Wow, let you have a breather small. Let me make you breathe small. Let me go to Facebook and read some of the comments so you can rest small. Thank you so much, Lady Nanaya. We are learning a lot. We are learning a lot today. Whatever you don't know about cancer, whatever is making you get alarmed, you calm your nerves down, because you acquire knowledge to know what to do at every point in time. We are learning to unlearn and to relearn. Thank you so much, family, for joining. We are so much grateful for your time. I can see Jasmine, thank you so much for joining. I can see Aria Scott, thank you also for joining. Lady Judith from the UK, thank you so much. We can see our Bishop Samuel Oscar Mensah, thank you so much, Daddy, for joining. We are so much grateful for your time. Our one and only Mami Tando is here. Mama Margaret, thank you so much. It says blessings to you also. Thank you so much. Mr. Oskinin says prevention is better, they say, than cure. Yeah, that is why we are here. Measures that we can put in place, what we need to do from our own side, so that we can, one, have timely intervention, or to prevent it all. We also see Lady Judy, she says, welcome Lady Ness Nanaya. Yeah. Lady Ness giving a shout out to Lady Ness. Yeah. If I didn't tell Naya is a nurse, you might have already seen she is a nurse. That is why she's here sharing this information with us. Ma Margaret says, welcome my sweet daughter, my daughter and classmate princess. Wow. Thank you so much. We have Fahind Raz watching. Thank you so much for the love. So Skinny says, cancer is a group of cells going through an abnormal process, growing uncontrollably. Thank you. It says, we thank God for it coming down. Yes, since the awareness is going on, one of the achievements is that the people contracting this or people being diagnosed of cancer is going down because of early intervention. People are learning and they are taking up measures that need to be taken in place. He said, okay, so we too have breasts. Yes, the men also have breasts. It is not only a chest, there is a breast there. Lady Judy says, yes, of course, men also have breasts. Matano says, mercy. He said, does that mean that the cell in the breast growing uncontrollably? Does that mean that the cell in the breast is growing uncontrollably? Yes. Matano says, hey, you're of course idiot. Yeah. Thank you so much, mommy. It said cancer blockers. Yes. Said BRCA1. Yes, the information our lady was giving us. And the flipper says, I have never heard of a male breast cancer patient. There are. That is why we are here learning to unlearn and to relearn. Our lady doctors, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your time. Being aware and not alarmed. Yeah. Better to get information, better to get knowledge so that you won't be taken by surprise. My own has no milk, you mean? My own has no milk. Yes, you don't have milk, but you have breast. Pregnancy is a survivor for women. I need to save my words. This one, I think there is another meaning to what Mrs. Kenny has written, because it is saying, they are saying that if people who have more children are of low risk of getting breast cancer. So, and also they say that if you breastfeed, especially those who go for exclusively breastfeeding for a very long time, are at low risk of getting breast cancer. But that doesn't mean that we should feel the world. That doesn't mean that we should give birth and give birth and give birth out of our strength. No, we will still go by our strength. It's a dense breast tissue. Yes, that is what our lady said. Matano says was referring to Lady Judith's own. Yeah, we got you. Thank you so much. Lady Judith says, I understand, Pa. I can see you are translating in your head and and you are doing so well. Yes, it's the Italian. She is Italian, and so she has to think it in Italian and then give it to us in English. That is why you can imagine if we are doing it everything in Italian, you will see how the machine will be going so fast. Thank you so much anyway for coming. We are so much grateful for the information. Matano says, I heard of a 12-year-old with breast cancer. Yeah, mommy. Today, not only the young, but the old are also, not only the old, but the young are also getting breast cancer. Just as Our Lady made us to understand, it is not, we grown to understand that it is by aging only. That is what we thought. But today, because of genetics, because it is maybe in the family, anybody can get it. That is why screening is so important. Mrs. Kenin says, brava, Lady Ness. Yes, so thank you. He said, Daily exercise prevents breast cancer now. This exercise, we need to take it very, very serious, especially among, should I say black, or I should say among the Ghanaian community? Hey, it says body weight, height. I didn't get that. Yes, it is of course important. There is, if you are of a certain height, there is a weight that you should have. It is too much for your height, then you need to take caution. It's a risk factor. Consumption of alcohol. Are you a Christian? That goes for you. Mami Sika Ejakoma. Should I change the name? We'll come back. It's a thanks, beautiful. Yes, she's thanking our Lady Ness for the information. Matano says, Eyasemu, mommy. Eyasempa. Only God. Second risk factor that Lady talked about is prevention. Prevent it before you get there. Yeah. Our Lady Judy says BMI, body mass index. Yeah, that was, you can even search it on Google and you have much more explanation to it. Again, Lady Ness says that your weight divided by your height. Yes, and it will help you. You can do that quickly even whilst you are there to know whether the weight that you have today is okay for the height that you have, so that you take precautions. We are all here to learn. Don't forget, we will put up the lines, should in case you would want to also call in and share or ask a question, you would have that opportunity. The line, you will see the number on your screens, so that, or even if you have questions, you can put it under the comment section and we can try to help you on that. Wow, thank you so much, Lady Nanaya. Back to you. You can continue.
All right. So thank you so much for all the feedback, the comments, and yeah, if anything is not clear, please just let us know, because we are here to make you aware, we are here to make you understand. And what we always say, knowledge is power. And if knowledge is power, it means that then our superpower is learning. The way we can acquire this power is by learning, so that we get the knowledge. So thank you so much for the feedback. Moving on, as I explained, there are mainly 3 tissues in the breast. So these causes the abnormal lump or group of cells to grow or to proceed in these different areas. So just to inform the type of breast cancers that we have, it could be generally, so that we won't concentrate on that part, and we'll go to the prevention part, what we can do to daily to prevent it, to know, to detect it. Every discovery is a very important detail in this case, in this disease. So we are talking about the duct. So we have ductal cancer, which could be invasive or in situ. In situ means only limited to the duct and not in other places. Otherwise, invasive, because it starts from the duct and it goes to other neighboring tissues. We also have the lobular, which is the other side we talked about, which is where the milk goes to and is channeled to the nipple. And that one also is a place where cancer can be developed, or can crave or start growing. So we have lobular breast cancer, in this case also in situ or in invasive, because it can develop only limitedly in that area of the lobular, or degenerate and go to other tissues. But we are still talking about the breast. We are not talking about any other part of the body. We have mixed cancer, which can be in any part of it. We have the inflammatory breast cancer, which is a lump in the connective tissues and mainly comes with pain or symptoms as redness or a lump, so a lump on your breast. So this means that the other types are mainly not painful and silent. So they are generally, so you won't be feeling a pain that will maybe alarm you, but you will be able to deduct it through regular examination, through things that we will do to be able to prevent or to be able to detect any abnormality in your breast. One thing that is very important is to know your body. As a female, know your body, not only your breast, but know your body, so that in case of any changes, you'll be able to understand that this has happened, this wasn't here. Even your face, if you have a pimple, if you have a mark, if you have a sign, if you have a wound, you need to be able to understand that this wasn't there and this is there, because all these things are signals of abnormal cells, are signals of changes in your cell. Because aside breast cancer, female or women have to do also with skin cancer. So we need to know our skin, we need to know our body, and to be able to signal or be able to point out any changes that we have. So why do we need to know our body? Because when it comes to breast cancer, we have different kinds of treatments. We have the screening, so going to the secondary prevention. We have the screening, and for example, in Italy, there is this fantastic, I find it to be very beautiful, that the National Health will send you a letter at home when you are of age to be able to go and detect or to do mammography. Mammography in Italian is mammografia, mammograph, that you are being put in a machine which examines the cells of your body inside, what you don't see, with other levels, with other depths, with other points of views of your breast, so that you'll be able to, they basically will understand if there are any abnormal cells, lumps, or growth going on in your body. This is important. I know certain aunties, mummies, sisters neglect this call, but it's very important, because it's thanks to these screenings that we are able to detect, we are able to point out in early diagnosing and be able to treat it immediately. Otherwise, it could be, as I said, it's silent. So it could be developing in your tissues and you wouldn't even know. This is the reason why we are calling out for people to know about this, for people to understand, not to be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of knowing it, because when you know, you will know how to. When you get to know, you will also know how to, because it's one thing that is scaring everybody, that is scaring most of our African community let me say women, and it is also the damage of most of us. So let's go to what we can do basically to every day to prevent or to be able to know if there are changes in our body. We call something self-examination, our breast self-examination. And funny enough, our men can also help us with this because they also know us. Your husband knows your body, even sometimes even more than you know yourself, because he sees you from outside. You see yourself, maybe there are some spots you are not able to see directly or clearly, but he is able to detect and know since when you have redness on your nipple, since when is your areola, which is the area around the nipple, this dark or this irregular. These are all things that we need to pay attention to. So how do you do a self-examination? The self-examination is done, first of all, standing in a mirror so that you can see, just as someone looking at you. As I said, as your husband looking at you, he can see you. So for you to be able to see yourself, you need to stand in a mirror, put your hands at your back, and examine what you see if there are changes. That is the reason why it's important for you to know yourself, to know how your physiognomy is, to know what and what are your birth marks and what are new marks or abnormal marks. So you examine your body, and then in this case, your breast, you start to, for example, see under your armpit, under the breast, the nipple, the areola area, the nipple itself, and then we come to the self-examination, which is done by touching your breast. So how are you able to do it in a good way? By putting your hand behind your head so that you will be able to feel the tissues around your breast. With a circular motion, you'll be able to detect if one, you feel pain by applying pressure. Two, if there are lumps or there are any kind of abnormal tissues, and it needs to be whole, as in the tissues are all in their locus, in their situ, in their place. So once you feel maybe a lump or a little ball or something that hurts you in your tissue, that's supposed to be an alarm for you to consult your doctor. And also, if it happens to be the period in which you receive the letter, just take the call and go have a screening, go have a checkup. It's not a matter of age. The self-examination can be done right from when you start having your menses. You should choose the same period of the month. Usually is some days after your period, so some days after your menstrual cycle, maybe 2 or 3 days after your menstrual cycle. You stand in front of the mirror, you examine if there have been any changes. As I say, your menstrual period exposes you to estrogen, so anything can happen whilst you are exposed to this higher level of this hormone. So after 3 days or 2 days, you just choose a regular period, a set period in the month, and you examine your body by looking, by touching, in circular motions, up and down, so you will feel the tissues. The more you do it, the more you develop knowledge about your body, and in case of any change, you'll be able to notice it, and you will intervene, or you will take the correct steps to be able to seek medical attention. So I hope this passage is clear, because it's very important. It's something that we don't pay for. It's something we do on ourselves, by ourselves. So we can just start by this and do, as I just explained, the self-examination of our breast to be able to detect.
And so I would say that if you already know that in your family there is that pattern, then you start early screening so that you would also take precautions. Otherwise, if at the age that the medical centers or wherever you are, if you happen to have the opportunity that some of us have, that you will be written to go for the checkup, then you go. Otherwise, if you already know that there is that risk, then you would have to start early screening. Okay, because today not only aging, but there are other risk factors that causes us to have breast cancer. Wow, so much information for us. We have been told how to examine ourselves, know your body, that if you see that there is something wrong about what you already know as your breast, then you would immediately take precautions. Yeah. Sometimes they say it grows, like you will see something like they call it a dimple, looking like the peel of the orange. You will see that on the breast, some part of the breast. And no, it is not only, we only know that breast cancer, but there are types of breast cancer depending on the tissue or the cell that takes up or becomes defaulted.
Yes.
Wow, please, you can continue.
Yes, please. Finally, for you to be able to understand that maybe what you felt aren't the longer, or what the things that you feel is exactly what it is, once you've done it standing in the mirror, you can lie down still with your hand behind your back. So when you are examining your left breast, your left arm behind the back of your head, and you examine with your right hand. And vice versa, when you are doing the examination of your right breast, you examine with your left hand, and your right arm goes up, so that you can be able to feel even in the tissues that goes to the armpits, because that's where we have lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are that guide liquid lymph to the body, and it goes in the whole of our body. So we need to examine all those areas close to our armpit, our breast, under the breast. And as you correctly said, my sister, you will, when you are examining your breast, as in when you're looking, abnormalities or symptoms are redness or damples that are at the peel of the lemon or of the orange. So it's not that smooth, but you see there are some potholes, I could say. And also maybe there is a lump. So you can feel a dot. The cells are very small. They are the smallest part or the smallest unit of our body. So when I say unstoppable growth, don't imagine growth as if they are oranges put in your breast, but they are very, very small, sometimes detectable only through microscope or through our screening, our mammograph. And this will help us to understand whenever there is any abnormal growth or abnormal detail symptom. One important thing is our nipple, because most of times there are people who will examine the breast without squeezing the nipple. We are pressing, we are applying pressure, and I would advise, or it's advisable for you to use different intense intensities. So maybe you start by pressing it softly, and then you intensify the pressure, because that's when you will be able to feel the tissues underneath. Same thing with the nipple. Although it's very small, you need to also apply pressure to the nipple. Why? Because it is the duct, it is the final destination of the duct. So if there is something that a discharge inside, it comes, it flows to the nipple. And in case by squeezing the nipple, you see any discharge, not because you are breastfeeding, but maybe the most alarming is when there is blood from your nipple. But then any kind of discharge that is not that transparent liquid that we see, but then is maybe torbido.
Finally, finally, one is out.
But then, yeah, I love it too. I love the way we are discussing, because it's shouldn't be something too formal. It should be a discussion, a conversation, so that we'll be at ease and everybody will be able to understand with simple terms, and we will all go home with something that we've learned. Yes. So as I was saying, the nipple is very important because it helps us understand if there is something going on in the duct, if there's any irregular discharge inside. Coming to the, we've talked about primary prevention, secondary prevention. We have also a third stage of prevention, which is when you discover that you have breast cancer. When you discover that, you need to first approach your doctor, talk about it. He will address you to imaging centers where they will make further research about what they've discovered initially through exams, through blood tests, and through imaging, like screening. X-ray or resonance magnetica. I'm lacking the word.
Don't worry at all.
I hope you will
we understand.
And, exactly. And the treatments can be dependent on where it is. Unfortunately, there isn't a final treatment of cancer, but you can develop it. You can be able to remove the cells surgically or treat it with an aggressive method, which is the chemo that we all know about, that make people lose their hair because of how intense it is, because of how damaging it is to even the regular cells. But then we need to know that the previous stages of prevention are a must, are very, very important. The first stage through your diet, exercise, avoiding alcohol consumption, avoiding smoke, and paying attention to your body, doing regular monthly self-examination, and also attending to screening calls whenever you receive the invitation or the appointment.
Actually, one thing that really scares us is the fact that when we hear of breast cancer, the first thing that comes in mind is death, or the breast is going to be cut off completely. But to have the knowledge that it is not always the case where it is cut off, depending on the level or the stage at which it is, it can also be there, and treatment can go on and you will be safe. You will still have your breast there for you. So that is also one myth that we need to clear. It is not always that the breast is cut off. It can be treated in various ways depending on the early detection. So it all applies to us. We do necessary screening, self-examination, and all that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. God richly bless you.
God bless you too. Wow, we have learned so much. We have learned about the risk factors. We have learned about the prevention, what we can do actually to prevent it, and then if should in case it happens, where we need to go to contact your doctors. And also she made us to understand, most importantly, when you are they reach out to you to come for the screening, please do so. I think this is one of the things that we neglect. For example, one of the common things that we shy away from, or we don't really want to go for, is pap test. I remember I'm one of them. But the first time I got the letter, I said, what? Okay. And I went to research on how it will be done. I said, no, I'm not going. Of course, because when you actually show up, they will determine whether it has to be done or not. Okay. So, for example, if you are sexually active, then they will say they will do it. But if you are not, thank God I came home. So don't worry at all. Just show up. Let them hear you, talk to them, and you will know what to do. But when the letter comes, please don't put it in your files, in your anywhere you keep those letters. Please go. If you cannot, they always provide the numbers that you can call to change the appointment day for you, even if you cannot make it for that day. This is some of the privileges that we have from where we are. But if you are watching, you are not from unfortunately, you don't have these privileges. Please do go for screening. Do your own self-examination so that you know when to go to see experts to help you for early detection. Anaya, thank you so much. I will give you the chance for you to give us your last words, putting everything together. Okay, sorry, let me go to Facebook and read the comments whilst you prepare to give us explanation of everything that you have said for maybe somebody who just logged in. Let me go to Facebook. We have Mr. Enomayo Nicholas watching. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. We don't take your time here for granted at all. We have Lady LC. Thank you so much for joining. Mark Anos says that, yes, so let's take precautions before it's too late. That is why we are here, the month of October, that is recognized as the month of breast cancer awareness, or the pink month, where most education is done on breast cancer and why we need to go for screening, why we need to acquire knowledge so that we know what to do. Martin again says that it is not fighting with the breast with your babies in Kwa. There's also assignment to check for the ladies. Mommy, you said it right. Maybe I should read it again so that they will hear. It is not fighting with breast with your babies in Kwa. You also have the assignment that you check it for your ladies. And if you are checking, you are there to check. Actually, to check. I need to stress on that. You are there on an assignment to check. Martano is laughing. Thank you so much, Lady LC. Thank you. Mr. Skinny says that means that I should examine my wife's body while and hold and how old and hold this one. Should I even read it? I hold the breast for better examination and only learning. I hope Elder is there. Elder is there. Will not hear this one. He is there. He is there. Don't worry. He is hearing you. Marakando says that Watipa, I have told him, or Watipa, I've told him already. Thank you so much, mommy. It said pressure on the nipple. Okay, yeah. If there is some abnormal discharges, then you know what to do. Approach the doctor first. Mrs. Kenny says, well done, my dear. Thank you so much, mommy. That is to Our Lady, Nanaya. Jasmine says, bless you, Lady Welbeck. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. We are so much grateful. We have learned a lot. Okay, we have some comments on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. We are so much grateful. Lady Ruth Asamwanya, she says that there are contraceptions that cause you to stop menstruating. Can this also prevent breast cancer or put you at risk since affect your hormones? Let me go again. There are contraceptions that cause you to stop menstruating. Can this also prevent breast cancer or put you at risk since it affects your hormones? That is a question to Our Lady. And also Angela Boahene says, God bless you so much, Dr. Esther. Wow, thank you so much for joining. We are so much grateful for your time. Lady Nanaya, can you help us with the question?
Yes, please. Actually, it's a very interesting question. Thank you so much to
Lady Ruth.
Yes, Lady Ruth, follower. It's actually a risk factor because it goes beyond the natural cause. It uses practically these hormonal birth controls or even menstrual cycle pills are also hormones, and it creates hormonal imbalance. Although it detects a regular timing for your menstrual cycle, it keeps you under under a certain level of estrogen. They all use estrogen and progesterone, so you need to also take note that that is a risk rather than a prevention or something that will help with not having. It's a risk. I don't know if I've answered the question clearly.
Wow, it is also a risk factor. Yeah, the contraception. Some, I think they say the oral. Yeah, so that's sorry, that is for us. If you need more information, you can get to Our Lady, or maybe wherever you are. If you happen to find yourself with your doctor, you can ask for more information about it, so you take the necessary precautions. I learned that during our menstrual cycle, the breast becomes heavy, and the menstrual cycle comes because you didn't get pregnant, so it has interrupted pregnancy. Okay, so that is also some of the things that may cause it, and so that is why some doctors say that if you happen to have more children, you happen to breastfeed for a very long time, the risk of you getting breast cancer is low. And so to you, the women, you can still go on if you want to have more children. That is the nugget for us there. Breastfeed, have more children, and hopefully you will be exempted from having breast cancer. Wow. Our Lady, can you give us your final word?
Okay, for those of us that just joined, I'd like to make this statement that October is called Awareness Month because it has certain days assigned to keep people aware of certain pathologies and diseases. For example, ADHD which is attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. We have, for example, last week on the 10th of October, it was World Mental Health Day, which is another massive topic we need to also talk about as African community, because there are a lot of things going on that we attribute or we assign to the devil, we assign to evil spirits, but then there are practical or there are real issues going on due to maybe an imbalance of neurotransmitters that we have, or any pattern that we are having. So mental health is another topic I would like to say out that we need to be aware of. So we are talking about the Pink Month. October is known, generally globally known as Pink Month, because it is Breast Cancer Month. And we've said a lot about breast cancer. We know that the breast is not only for women, but it's also for men, because they also have connective tissues that make it or allow it for abnormalities to happen. So we need to prevent, we need to be aware of the things that we can do to prevent, and of the things that may cause, so which are the risk factors. Some are aging. Now we've seen that it's not only those above 60 that have breast cancer. The other day there was a lady testifying about her journey, and she was only 34. So it's not only for old women, we will say. Aging is a factor. Genes, mutations of genes are a factor. We have which is we have another factor is that we can't work on is that is exposure to early period, menstrual period, and also exposure to hormones, that estrogen hormones. So what we said basically is we need to be conscious about our body. We need to know our body so that we will recognize any changes. Self-examination is a must for us to detect in an early stage these kind of mutations. Screenings are very important, and for us to be able to understand the importance of this, for example, in Italy we have consultorio familiare with midwives, with gynaes, who will help us understand what are the issues and what are the things that that could happen to us, or anything that you don't understand. For example, our host was talking about pap test, which is also another a very important screening done, because these two are mainly for the female sex. These main cancers that are occurring and that are causing damage in our communities. Thank you all. Thank you so much for inviting me. We will surely have other times and other occasions.
Sure.
And it's a pleasure to be among you and on this platform.
Sure, we are so much grateful to have you. You have done marvelously. You have given us so much information on this breast cancer awareness. I believe just as we have learned from the studio, you have also learned. You have acquired enough information to help you on your journey as a woman. Not only as a woman, we have gotten to know, and as a man too, for our community, for ourselves. Thank you so much. We are glad to have you. From the Inside Studios, we say that we are grateful. Lady Nanaya, our nurse from Italy. She's from Italy. She's with us here. And so if you need to get in touch with her, you can just write to us and we will connect you to her. Viewers, we are so much grateful for your time. Thank you for sharing your screens with us. We are grateful for your time that we have all learned. It has been the Inside Studios where we say that we learn to unlearn and to relearn. Today, you know, if you know somebody who has it, even if you don't know whether the person has it or not, if you can't, you don't know what to say to somebody you meet, the only thing you can do is to be nice, because you don't know whatever anybody you meet is going through. Wow. Breast cancer awareness, the month of October. We are saying that nobody is to be left alone. Nobody is to go through this journey alone. That is why we are acquiring much knowledge, so that we can take preventive measures. We can have early detection. It has been the Inside Studios, where we learn, we unlearn, and relearn. And the virtuous woman, when we say we take one day at a time. Take one day at a time. Take this week one day at a time. And God will see you through. God richly bless you, and bye for now.